All right, welcome to episode 12 of the Iowa Girls Wrestling Stories podcast. Today we feature Kerbee Pol- Polenychko. I did I say it right? I just practiced too, and I don't think I did it right. But anyway, the I have a tagline for Kerbee, and she is definitely the definition of see a need and fill a need. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh no, this I saw your post on nonprofit, and one of the things I want to do with this podcast is not only feature obviously the great wrestlers we have, but parents, and you're not just a parent because you've now are a coach and you do this 50 5013C, right? Did I get that right? I always say that wrong too.
No
But
idea.
you've done so many different things, but we've met probably 2 or 3 years ago in the BV wrestling room. And what brought you down there?
That actually seems like such a long time ago now.
It does. It really
And
does.
so Aurora, my oldest daughter, Aurora, she got involved in wrestling in eighth grade. And in our area, we're in Spirit Lake, Iowa. So we're up in Northwest Iowa and trying to find her opportunities to wrestle. We're just really limited in the area. She went all in. Like I said, kind of impulsively, eighth grade was like, hey, I'm going out for wrestling. It was 100% new to me. I had never wrestled. My husband never wrestled. We came from a soccer, basketball, football background. And I mean, she went all in. She went to practices. She absolutely fell in love with the sport. So yeah, just trying to find support for her where she needed it. We tried to start trying to find clubs or practices or any kind of opportunity we could. And like I said, the more we looked, the further we got away from home. And I had reached out at the time, we were kind of just getting, I don't know, we just kept hitting walls everywhere we looked. We just kept finding obstacles to try and find her, like I said, opportunities to learn. And one day I came across Tori Storm. She had posted something on Facebook and I messaged her and I was like, Tori, this is what's going on. Point me in the right direction. She goes, you need to speak to my husband. And she got me in contact with Dave, who's the Spencer girls coach. And he goes, what she got going on tomorrow, bring her to open mat. And we went from there. That open mat took us to BB, the open mat. We met you, we met Dave. We started meeting some of these other coaches. And I mean, we just kind of haven't really stopped since
Yeah.
then.
It has been kind of a crazy last 3 to 4 years. Yeah, it started kind of small in Northwest
Yeah.
Iowa, and I think Northwest Iowa is doing. I'm going to give them a B. We aren't Northeast Iowa, obviously, but I don't know if we'll ever will be just because of the wrestling. Northeast Iowa is Iowa wrestling, but I think we're doing well.
I
You
agree.
I think so. But one of the issues that came up is your school didn't really have a coach for the girls.
No, no.
So I know you spent a lot of time on the mat kind of watching all the coaches, and so how did that kind of happen, and as far as becoming a coach, but maybe even so, how what advice could you give to some other moms maybe that see the need, and maybe it's not as scary as it seems. Maybe you can
Yeah,
help them out with that.
100%. Yeah. So definitely, like you said, I saw a need. And we're a small school, right? There, Aurora, her first 2 years of wrestling, before it was sanctioned, she was in the wrestling room with the boys, and both years she was one of two wrestlers. I think each year she had a senior that phased out of the program, which left Aurora, and there wasn't. We needed more people advocating for the girls and the girls coming up, and even just acknowledging that there were girls that wanted to wrestle. And I think yeah, I just saw the need and I wasn't willing to just sit back. So I had emailed the athletic director, and I mean, it's been a few years. I'm self-employed, so it's been a few years since I've done a resume, but I really tweaked. I have a military background, I have a leadership background, I have coaching background, just not in the sport of wrestling. But I put myself through the coaching authorization course, and I really did everything I thought that would put me in the best position to best represent the girls in our area. I just felt like they needed a voice. They needed someone supporting them. They needed someone speaking up to say, hey, we're here and we want to wrestle. And it wasn't as scary. I started going to the open mats there and watching you guys at BB. Um, I'm sure anyone will tell you I ask a lot of questions. um, and I'm not afraid to, but it's been great because everyone has taken the time to kind of to teach me, to educate me. Shoot, even Larry, I had one-on-one. I asked Larry for private lessons here last year going into the season. Again, I wanted to be the best representation I could be for the girls. And not having kind of that basic foundation, I wanted to ensure that I had that going in. So again, I could best represent them and what they needed going into their first season.
Yeah, you've done a fantastic job of learning the sport and asking the questions. That's probably one of the biggest things. And I think everybody, not everybody, but people are scared to ask the questions and just jump in because it's not that scary. It's, in the girls wrestling community, man, it's pretty supportive for the most part.
Oh, it is.
I think that, you know, in Northwest Iowa, we have some great coaches that really care about kids and not just their kids, but kind of work with everybody's kids. And I think that's really special about the area, and I'm proud to be coaching in Northwest Iowa with a lot of coaches like Dave and yourself. And, there's just so many of them that have done a good job. Um, you said you got, I like to also include all these other things. You have a military background. You were a sergeant in the Marine Corps, that is pretty cool. So
Thank
you've
you.
broken down some barriers prior to girls wrestling, right? That's probably fairly, women in the military hasn't been that long as far as in leadership roles, correct?
Oh, I would agree. I think that's why I empathized with Aurora so much early on. Like I said before, it was sanctioned when she was going head to head with these boys and those opportunities were limited, was because I've been there. It's not in the same retrospect, but I was generally one or one of two in any platoon or any unit that I ever served in. So I definitely felt her struggle, and I could connect with her and what she was kind of experiencing. Someone on a different level, but very much in the same way.
Yeah, I think it's pretty kind of a parallel thing there, and I think it's great that the girls in Spirit Lake have a female role model to look up to. I say it all the time, and the new girls that are coming in that are coaching, it's important to have someone that the athletes can see themselves in, and Dave Storm, myself, we're kind of getting to be old guys, and I don't think too many girls want to be some old guy with a beard, but they can see themselves in you and being such an inspiration. Now, the new thing that caught my eye, and I messaged you right away, you started a nonprofit. Why don't you talk a little bit about this nonprofit?
Um, yeah, we did. It was one of those we kept. So myself and Chad McKean, so Cassie McKean wrestled for you at Scholastic Duels,
Yep.
105 pounder. So Cassie and Aurora became friends, kind of going into that first first year for Cassie, her sophomore year, and kind of like Aurora, it was impulsive. Aurora and another friend and Jolie, I think one of our other wrestlers, had been talking to her, and yeah, I feel like once we get them in the room, they you can't help but fall in love with the sport, and that's kind of what happened. And her parents were like mine, so kind of starting at ground zero, trying to learn the sport in such a fast way to best support their daughter. And so her dad and I had been talking probably over the last year or so more about, we were kind of looking at supporting the girls from like a parent booster club, kind of is what we thought. And that was kind of where we first sat down and we started writing our articles of organization for this nonprofit. And should we be an LLC or should we be a nonprofit? And again, we kind of gone back and talked to Larry Wajda, who has, the club here in town, and he's an official for USA Wrestling. And then we talked to Dave again and what he's doing for his girls, and just started looking at what other people were doing and how we could best help our girls. And So we did. We originally formed a Spirit Lake Park girls wrestling club, and I think within a matter of about 2 months realized we were that was too small. We really wanted to expand the reach. In order to grow our girls, we really truly felt that we needed to continue to build the communities around us, which we started looking at Northwest Iowa to get the support in our small little Spirit Lake town of 5,000. You need to bring in other clubs and other programs to host camps, to have tournaments, to have these opportunities in our area. So again, we kind of expanded our reach almost instantly, just because again we kind of felt that that was going to better foster the support that we were looking for. And then yeah, we started analyzing like, are we, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to support girls wrestling, or like I said, we really came down to I know it's just words, but are we trying to support them? Are we trying to provide the basic needs to grow this sport? And that's where we came up with fostering the growth of girls wrestling, because no, we wanted to actively facilitate the development, the growth, and the promotion of girls wrestling. We didn't want it to just be growing in our area. Like I said, we wanted to grow wrestling and our community's knowledge of our girls wrestling here in Northwest Iowa. And I think that's kind of where we're still lacking. And Chad recently kind of said it best. He goes, it's not the girls are showing up. He goes, where we're still struggling, is our community. No one knows, we recently did a recruiting over at Lake Park, and I think I had maybe 90% of the girls I spoke to didn't know we had a girls wrestling program. Right. And then the more we've talked to parents and the more we talk to community members, they're like, oh, she wrestles, like, and it's always been a question. Right. So
Yeah.
we really developed and just grew that idea into like, no, we want this to be a bold statement. Yes, she wrestles, and that's what it kind of grew into. It's not, there is no question. Yes, she wrestles. How can we help foster, like I said, this into something that's sustainable long term, because the numbers aren't going anywhere. There's more and more girls coming out every day, even if I get one more in the wrestling room this year, I'll be happy because it shows growth. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where it
I
came from.
I like the way you and Chad have developed this. It reminds me back about, it's almost 10 years now that I've been coaching girls. And when we started, it was, I started a club at South Central Calhoun with it was a club of one. It was a club of one for almost 2 years. And as all we would do is we would travel and try to find a practice partner.
Yeah.
And that's when I ran into Jason Shepard. And then we started finding a girl at this school and a girl at that school, and grew it into what, it kind of is right now. I'm not saying that Jason and I did all that, but it took one girl at Kingsley Pearson, one girl, at Hinton, one girl at Ridgeview. It was just crazy the growth it's had since, in the last 10 years. And it's really neat to see like yourself and Chad share that same vision, that it's not just our school, because, of course we want our school to be good and win and that, but it doesn't do much good if it's only our school. Right.
Correct. Yep.
I need to have competitive matches with Spirit Lake. I need to have competitive matches with Lamar's and the whole area, in Hinton being a new program, and up in, across that north, that conference. I don't know if you're in the same conference as like Central Lyon, George Little Rock. They, I think, have done a good job of kind of forcing the conferences into having teams.
Mm-hmm.
So we need more and more and more of that. And so what you've done is, it's an amazing thing. And I almost just a little bit jealous I didn't think about it, but I'm going to support it, and I'm definitely going to support your idea. I think it's great. Yeah, and we just recently started a youth girls club too, so maybe that's something we could get them together and do something between those two clubs at some point in time. That would be
Yeah,
really cool.
definitely.
Yeah. So you've had an event already with She Wrestles,
We
not
did.
question
Yeah.
mark, exclamation point. We'll make that exclamation point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If the state would have let me file it with a punctuation, I would have, but it wasn't allowed, or I would have. But
Perfect.
Yeah, we had a bingo event. Like I said, we have been working with the Northwest Iowa Humane Society, just because again, we've reached out to our community members and we've kind of seen some of the stuff they've done here successfully in the area, and we kept coming back to bingo. And they host one a couple times a year, and Chad thankfully had some points of contact for him, and we reached out, and I mean, they held our hand through it even. I mean, they were amazing the other night. So they came out, they showed us how to run it, they showed us what we needed to get started. And yeah, we definitely marketed. It was kind of neat because we had folks that would walk in and be like, "Oh, my daughter wrestles for Okoboji, or my niece is wrestling for GTRA." And so it is cool because, like I said, our intent was to grow our areas, and even with this first little event, we kind of slowly are bringing in and growing our girls wrestling family and our community here in the area. So it was just kind of neat, and it was a successful event. It got our name out there. We shared some information about girls wrestling and why we started it and who we're doing it for. And yeah, the community showed up and they were really supportive. So it was a great first event, and we're looking forward to getting another one done here down the line really soon.
That is really cool. Um, you definitely have to make sure you let everybody know what the next events are going to be. I will make sure that I put it out there,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
we can get those things going. Where do you see this going in the next, let's say, 2, 3, 5, 10 years? Where do you see your nonprofit going?
Um, we definitely see it growing. We're like I mentioned, we're kind of in the growing stages, right? We're newly formed. We've been organized here probably for well since early summer. This being our first event, we want to support not only girls, we want to support the programs that are supporting the girls. So long term, I know hands down we want to be able to offer some sort of higher education scholarship. So that was something Aurora is a freshman in college this year, and that was something last year is, sitting down and trying to go through all the scholarship banks and all the scholarships online. And we really didn't come across too many for girls wrestling. And so I know that that is a goal, and that is a part of our mission, that we would like to help support and offer some sort of scholarship in the future. And not only that, being able to support a program, and like I said, here I am using my going back to the word support because it's easier, but fostering that in the sense that we don't want to just give a program, just give it to them. We'd like to help foster that program into bringing maybe a camp to the area, or bringing an all girls tournament or something like that. And I know in the past, I think programs have been hesitant to do it because they're afraid of not like girls not showing, right?
Yeah.
Um, they're afraid of investing into putting themselves out there and then not having people show up at the end of the day. And I feel like you got to start somewhere. And kind of like our bingo night, I know Chad was, we had doors open at 5 o'clock, and 4:45, Chad was like, okay, when do I start getting nervous? And I mean, 5:05, we had the floodgates open, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's kind of the same with getting programs to get the opportunities out there for girls. So if we can kind of help facilitate that a little bit and take a little bit of that scary element away for it, it's just going to provide more opportunities for our girls in the long run and get more girls out.
Yeah. I think sitting here and just hearing what you're saying, I think we need to maybe discuss a, a partnership, not even kind of a partnership, maybe with Iowa Girls AAU. Um, Jason and our board has been really supportive of programs needing to have insurance for rooms. A lot of times the schools require you to have that. So they've been able to, Iowa Girls AAU has been able to do the charter clubs for them, so they don't have to pay that. Iowa AAU sponsored my tournament coming up, the youth tournament I have. So I didn't have to put that money up front for a few things. The scary part, the medals
Yeah, yeah,
cost money.
absolutely.
So I think we need to have some discussions, and I think when other people hear your vision and what you and Chad have developed there, I think we can develop some partnerships along the way. And that just popped into my head like as we're talking, so
Yeah.
that's I think we can definitely develop some really, really cool things throughout the state because I think there's a lot of people doing things, but I think we need to maybe coordinate just a little bit and make this effort, really, really work out. That you've got me excited about this really a lot. That's awesome,
Because
and
you don't
that's
know
great,
until you ask questions, right? And it's
right?
sometimes you don't know the right questions to ask. And like I said, when you're looking at such a small scale of like I said, we were looking at Spirit Lake Park, and it's like, no, if you look and you're just a hop, skip, and jump away, and now you're like, wait a minute, we can partner on something like this. So, and we just had a board meeting last night to kind of go over how bingo went, and that's something that came up. I go, yeah, the more you do a few of these little things, the more you build that family and that community. And you start meeting those people are like, hey, actually, you know what? I can help you. We can help each other. And
Yep.
then that really takes off. So yeah, that's great. We definitely have to touch base.
Yes. Yeah. That's really really I love your idea. I love the way you do things because it's and I don't want to like I'm not saying myself, but you know anytime there's been a need, it's just like I do the same thing. Well, we got to do this. We have to do this, and it's not that. And I'm going to tell you, before I started coaching girls wrestling, I might have been one of the most shy people in the world, but I can't be anymore because I had to go. Started with one and had to go talk to this person to say, hey, why don't you do this? And you do the exact same thing, and it's really, really cool to watch the growth of your team. And let's talk about the Spirit Lake team just a little bit because that really came on last year. And seasons we're only a few days away from starting the new season,
Yeah, it's
right?
exciting. Yeah, about a week out.
So what does Spirit Lake Park got going this year? What do you think the team's going to be like?
Um, I think I don't know. I get so excited about I get so excited thinking about it because I honestly love promoting our girls and just the things that they're doing. And um, we had Aurora. Aurora was a state qualifier her junior year, and last year we had two state qualifiers. We had Cassie McKee and Audrina Bennett. Both are returning this year. Super excited to see what they're gonna do. And another one that hasn't really got mentioned, but she put on a show at regionals, and I'm super excited for her to come back. So we had yeah, Reese. I'm Logan is I might be mixing up her last name right now, but um Reese came out and state qualifiers had to wrestle 9 matches. So she won her first one, lost her second one, got dropped to that backside, and I mean just dug like the true definition of grit to try and get through that regional tournament. And I honestly want to say I can't imagine any other girl wrestled 9 matches at the regional tournament. She barely missed state qualifier, and she was a freshman last year. So super excited for her to come back. I got a couple middle schoolers that are new this year. I've been over to Lake Park to try and we've always, as far as I've known the program, we've been Spirit Lake Park, and we don't have our Lake Park element of our program.
Uh-huh.
So I've really focused on, and that was kind of the first alone recruiting I did this year. And I can honestly say I talked to every single girl on that campus over a lunch period. I went around table to table, and the AD, Ashley, was really great because she kind of walked me around, made introductions, and like I said, one by one, we ensured that every girl knew knew we had a program, whether they wanted me there or not. But I do think I'm really hopeful that we'll get a girl or two out of it this year. So yeah, I'm just super excited for what the season has, and I'm just looking forward to it. Getting them back in the room it'll be exciting for sure.
Yeah, I think when girls realize the support system that is in a girls wrestling room and within the community, that it's just a different thing. I coached on the boys side of the sport for a lot of years. Since 2000 I've been coaching on the boys side of the sport. It might have been 99 even. So that's a lot of time, and I've never been around a more supportive group of people as girls wrestling. you know
Yep.
Everybody works together. to build something, because that's what we're still doing. We're still building something really, really special. And Iowa is building something incredibly special to be, one of the top three or four. I can't remember if we're third or fourth. I think we're fourth largest population of girls wrestling in the nation. And our state is tiny, and then to have 3,500 girls in the high school wrestling. AAU numbers are about 2,800 girls, youth girls coming up. USA has close to 1,000 girls wrestling freestyle. Those are really impressive things that the state of Iowa are doing. And it's because we have people like yourself that are willing to go out and say, hey, did you know we have a girls wrestling team?
I know.
And because a lot of people don't. And I spent my day yesterday going to a couple different schools because we have a co-op yet. And I talked to girls, and I don't know how many people walked by me at Ridgeview, and Ridgeview's been a very good wrestling team the last few years. And they're like scared to even sit down and talk to me as a coach, because I don't think girls wrestling, I don't know what we could, it's just crazy to think that they don't understand or don't see the support around it. So I rant sometimes, sorry.
No, no,
But
that's all valid and true. That's exactly it. I think people are afraid to ask the questions, or with it being such a male dominated sport for so many years, I think parents still are hesitant to even let their girls go out because they just don't understand that the opportunity is there for the girls, and they're no longer wrestling the boys, or there's no longer this, I don't know, this power struggle there. It's the girls have their own programs and they have their own opportunities. And again, it's just growing it and putting that education out there for them to know. And when people ask questions, it's exciting to tell them, because they get excited about it and they want their girls to be in the room and they want to be a part of that family. Like I said, I have a soccer and a basketball background, and I can say without a doubt the friendships and the relationships that I've made with Aurora and Aurora's made through wrestling are unmatched. I mean, you don't see that kind of bond anywhere else in any other sport, and it's something really great and inspiring to be a part of.
Yeah, I hope we never lose that
Yeah.
you know I as things have grown, and like when I started, I believe uh the first year of high school girls, not, I mean, I'm talking 8 years ago, there was 20 some girls that I wrestle was following. And every week we would send in, who wrestled and matches and things like that. The majority of that 20 girls were managers that would take forfeits at 106,
Yeah, yeah,
and so there was probably really 10 to 12 girls wrestling in the high school at that time. And so everybody knew everybody. And
yeah,
as it's grown, I've seen, as different coaches come in, maybe they're not as open to uh, that that bonding and stuff. But I think as they realize that, oh my God, this is so much different than the boys' side of the sport, they fall in love with it. I don't know any male coach that has started going to the girls' side that wants to go back.
yeah,
Um, I'm sure you've talked to officials. That's one of the things I always talk to officials all the time. And the guys, there's several of them that have said, I was about ready to retire, but I really enjoy officiating for the girls. They
hmm
do. It's just a different, I've never gotten official said, I've never gotten a hug after a match, but I have now, you know. So it's
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 so
such
true.
a cool thing. And I wish more people would just take the opportunity that are given to them. So I think what you're doing up in the Spirit Lake area is phenomenal. And I hope that it inspires others to do some of the same in some different areas, Southwest Iowa, a little more sparse area also. And I know that they're trying their best, but they don't have as many schools that are involved in girls wrestling. And I know that we have to get some more schools in Northwest Iowa involved, so all of our conferences can compete. I only have one other school in my conference that has girls wrestling,
Yeah,
so we can't really have a conference tournament, you
yeah,
know.
yeah.
So
Those things
that's,
will hopefully come, like you said, as the more you build and the community's aware of it. I feel like like we're right on like the edge of those things happening, I feel like. And that's just kind of where that disconnect is, again, going back to the community not 100% knowing that it's out there.
yeah. And it's amazing that they wouldn't know, because if our, Spirit Lake Park has had a some decent wrestling teams. If I know, I think I've been beat by them several times as a coach, on the boys' side. So it is kind of a wrestling community, and Larry's up there doing a great job in the clubs. And we have two good colleges just right here in our, BV having a women's wrestling program and Iowa Lakes having a wrestling program. So I mean, there's opportunities right here at home. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping. So while we still have a little bit of time, we should probably see how Aurora's doing at BV.
Yeah.
How's everything going there? I was up for the practice where they practiced outside on homecoming weekend. I think it was homecoming weekend. With
Yeah, I think, oh shoot, I think that might have been, she was hurt there for a little while, and that actually might have been that weekend. She was still kind of recovering. I don't remember. I don't remember what she did. She had something going on with her back.
Yeah, I think it was a
So
lower
yeah,
back or something because I
yeah,
talked to her a little bit that day.
yeah, she had strained something, and so yeah, it was rough there for a little bit, and um, I mean, she's doing well. I think she too had a little bit of a burnout coming out of last season. There's a lot of expectations and self things that she put on herself coming
Yep.
into the season as a senior, and I think it got to her a little bit. Like I said, she fell in love with this sport, and I know this summer and getting into the room with Paige, she's really had to remind herself why she fell in love with wrestling, and again, just going back to her foundation. And I love this sport, and I want to be a part of this sport, and she's really getting back into it, and I'm super excited for her because they're going to be going into their first competitions here soon, and she's back into the room wrestling, and kind of like I said, she's recovered from some injuries and some um she has medical history stuff, so
Yeah.
just to get that kid healthy
Yes.
is usually a feat in its own. But yeah, I know she's been really excited about the work they've been doing the last couple weeks, and she's been partnering with Evelyn Kramer. She was a senior last year at a GTRA, and so yeah, she's really liking the work that they're doing, and she's, like I said, excited to moving forward. So I'm glad she's kind of found that passion again and snapped out of, the little hang up she had last season. So
I think that's easy to do, even coaching, and sometimes we forget, and we have to be reminded.
yeah.
You've this is your second season now, coming into the last two seasons. I don't know. It's been about oh September. I don't know what it is. I start getting this funk like, man, I don't know. Is this going to be my last year? Yeah, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. God, my knees hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, I have had a girl got in a really bad car accident this year that I, was is not going to be able to wrestle because of concussions and stuff,
Yeah.
things like that. I'm like, God, is it really even worth it anymore? And then I go to these youth clubs every Tuesday and I walk out of there going, yep, it's worth it.
I
you know?
know. Yep. I would, that's absolutely, we had, so what's kind of cool is, so the first year we were sanctioned, I was like, we've never had, because of the season, our wrestlers have never been in homecoming, like in the homecoming parade.
Mm-hmm.
And so that first year it was seasoned, and it was before I was coaching. I was like, we should see if the school will let girls wrestling be in the homecoming parade. And Andrew Lundgren was the coach at the time. And he goes, yeah, I'll ask. And they approved it. And we had three girls walking down the street with a banner. And I was proud of that, man. Like, I was so excited for them. There was three of them. And last year, same thing. We were like, we're doing this. We ended up putting together a float. The girls came out, like the girls came, they decorated it. Everyone got involved. And I think we had like 11 girls on a float. And then this year, parents were messaging me wanting to be involved and wanting to help the girls, and the girls were messaging me and getting involved. And so just in those couple years and those small little like moments of growth, it's super exciting to see. So yeah, it's just like I said, in those little moments of, and now I have a whole team that wants to get involved in a homecoming parade, or that are, like I said, now they're reaching out because they want to do it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. That the growth up there is you guys have done a fantastic job. It's very impressive to watch. I don't I don't know what more to say other than it's you guys just are doing great things, and that's good because that's going to help other people do great things, and we'll keep helping each other, and we'll make this we might end up with more girls wrestling than boys, that is a possibility. The growth has
I,
been incredible throughout the
yeah.
country.
No, I've made that statement before. I've told people I want to get so many girls in that room that you got to give me a bigger room.
Yeah. Yes.
Like I said, yeah, I think it'll get there. Like I said, the girls are the ones showing up. Our numbers aren't lying. They're still climbing. And the more we build their community, the more support we'll have for it. And like I said, the more we'll keep getting them in the room. So I don't know. I'm super excited for the potential and to see where it keeps going. We saw when Aurora first started, she was usually one of maybe 300 pounders. And, as she came into her senior year, she would go to a tournament, she'd be, one of 30. So, I mean, from the short time that we've been involved with it, it's just taken off and
Yeah. And the
that's not
level
stopping.
of wrestling that just the
Oh,
level
yeah.
of the wrestling coming up. These kids, the freshman class this year is going to be better than the freshman class last year. And there's
Hands-
sixth graders that can compete right now at the high school level.
I would,
So I mean,
yep.
I remember watching at Twin River Duels this year. One of the best matches duels was a youth team, and I think the one was maybe out of Oklahoma, and then the other was the Mambas, which is it's a very
Yeah.
big all star team out of Iowa. But I'm watching wrestling. I'm like, these kids look better than the college girls. They were doing things. I'm like, I'm not sure I know how to do that. But it's so that level of wrestling is just coming up, and I think the more people see it, the more they are going to love watching girls wrestling because it is an exciting sport to watch. It's way more fun than watching. I think more fun than watching the guys, to be honest with you. I think there's more points scored. I think there's more passion there. I think the emotion involved is great. So yeah, I'm super excited. Do you have any final things you'd like to let everybody know, whether it's about the She Wrestles or Spirit Lake Park or just anything, any final words that you want to put out there?
You know what? I think I would highly recommend if you haven't been to a girls' home match or meet yet, get to one. Because if you aren't convinced, go to a girls' wrestling tournament. I mean, all it takes is to be in the room for, 20 seconds and to see those girls hit the mat to make you realize I heard this recently, but it's not a moment, it's a movement. And it is inspiring and you can't help but fall in love with it. So I would just, like I said, if you haven't ever taken that opportunity, get out there and watch some girls wrestling because it'll change your day, change your perspective, change your world. It's pretty amazing. And as far as the nonprofit, yeah, follow us. We're on Facebook right now. I'm in the process of getting us a web page up, but She Wrestles. You can find us on Facebook. We'll be posting our events up there and yeah, just continue to support your programs. And like I said, we're going to continue to support each other. So, but yeah,
And
Troy, I appreciate everything you're doing too. I message you all the time and I really do. I've seen you as a mentor and again, someone in the forward lead of this movement. And it's greatly appreciated. And I don't know if you're told enough, but thank you for everything that you're doing. It's pretty great.
well, I do appreciate that. And I just stole that from you. It's